I want the Rhodes Royce Jigga and Beyonce bought $28 million for the fuck of it. I want a Bosky yacht in my living room just to tell Lil Hallie not to touch the shit. I work hard, so I want sports of victory and every single thing that comes with it. Cause I'ma write it down and I'ma put it on and I'ma cross it all off my bucket list.
It has been a minute, but we are back. The Rhodes Rules Podcast. I want to introduce a special guest, not just to me, but to the entire hip-hop world, the entertainment world in general. Man, one of the fathers of gangster rap, N.W.A, all of your writing, your artistry, and all of the things that you did to build that is just immaculate work. A Dallas, Texas native, my big bro, a mentor to me. He's been so instrumental in my career and so great in my career. Story of triumph, of overcoming, becoming, you know what I'm saying, a better man because of it, man. It's we're going to talk about that, man. But it is my big bro, D.O.C. in the building. Yeah, what's up? We're gonna push the button. It's going to be all the applause, as I know the world is applauding. But thank you so much for pulling up to the Rhodes Rules Podcast, man. Had to have you in here. The premise of the podcast is really just to talk about, you know, music, arts, a lot of Dallas culture, because I think, as we'll speak about, Dallas is so instrumental on the music landscape, even though I don't think we've gotten our credit. So musically, I'm here to vouch for that. And just real shit in general. You know, it's a lot of things going on in the country and the world. And so this podcast, I think, is just to raise positive voices when it's a lot of people that probably shouldn't have a mic talking. That's the whole premise of the Rhodes Rules Podcast. So thank you for being here, man. And I just want to, let you, say a few words and speak before we get into it, man.
Man, it's a blessing. It's an honor to be on your program.
Thanks.
I got nothing but love and respect for your journey and all the amazing things you've done with your art.
Thank you.
And just in general, on a side note, we are in beautiful downtown West Dallas, and I grew up not even a mile from where we at.
Wow, man. Symbolic.
Yeah, bro. So this is home for me, in a whole lot of ways, and I'm happy to be a part of your program.
It means a lot to have you as a brother, as a friend, and now as a guest on the show. Can you talk about, I guess, your starts and your humble beginnings, like in Dallas in general, and then just kind of like getting into music out here in the 214?
Yeah, well, like I said, I grew up, a mile up the street, and this is back when they played the dozens with each other. Your mama this and your mama that, and this is before Crush Groove. I'm thinking 82-ish, and rap is being heard, but not to the extent to where everybody's doing it. But the dozens is everybody does that, and so this dude named Fresh K, Curtis, used to dance with his group called the Rockets. He used to always fuck with me, and so I started fucking with him back, and we did it so much that it became a thing where folks would come outside and hang out just to hear us go back and forth.
So it started from the dozens.
Yeah.
Would you say rap? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was always a reader as a young man. And so words, I always had a nice vocabulary as a young person. I could use words that the average guy wasn't using and make people go, wow, And if you know me, I'm a natural comedian. I'm a funny guy. So saying intricate shit that was funny was a win-win. And I would tear your ass up. And so Curtis and I got really good at that. So when rap really happened, when Crush Groove finally made it in 84, I think it was, we decided we was going to be Run DMC down here. Yeah. and I was gonna be Ron.
Okay.
You know, and that's really how it started, man. You know, beautiful experience back in the day when hip hop was finding itself down here.
Cool. So I'm gonna kind of treat this like as a timeline as we proceed. So it started, with the dozens, going as the new age is called, going.
Yeah.
And then as we move on, Crush Groove, and you kind of being the embodiment of Run for your group.
Yeah.
So you do all this, and I guess let's go to. I don't think I'm skipping too much. And for my Dallas people, let's say high school. You went to Kimball, right?
I went to Kimball.
Okay, Justin F. Kimball. So
I went to Justin F. Kimball. Really, I just went through Kimball.
Through Kimball, like
I walked in that bitch in the front door and walked right back out the back door and hung out at a church across the street, pitching quarters. Cause I didn't like school.
Yeah,
I didn't like the teachers. I didn't like the experience. I was super poor, and so folks just talked about you all day. I didn't feel like dealing with all that. And so I stayed across the street with the rest of the degenerates and pitched quarters. But rap had already showed up. So in my mind, I already knew what I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. So hell, it didn't have nothing to do with what they was teaching.
Mm-hmm. High school is a very tough period for a lot of people, because what's funny, even I tell my daughter and kids, like, it's a period in time that would never happen again. Like, the shit that matters there just matters for 4 years, So a lot of times people that may not be, that successful or whatever in high school, they can go on to be greater things because, like you say, rapping is not being taught.
That's right.
Entrepreneurship is not being taught.
But it's so funny that those things are becoming part of the educational lexicon today. Mm-hmm. They're teaching rap in college today. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're teaching in the school that I'm building, one of the verticals is the creator economy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so the world is different now.
Yeah.
And these young kids, Generation Z, is a different. They are the reset. Yeah. And it is incumbent upon us to give them the tools, especially the ones that come from where we come from.
Amen.
Give them what they need to thrive in this new space.
Amen. And just even piggybacking on that, like, what they would consider degenerate, it's just like, man, I'm bored. I'm not entertained. You're not feeding who I am. So it's good that this new model of education in your school that we're going to get to on this timeline is doing those things. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. So as we go from, Justin F. Kimball, you passing through on this timeline, what in your career, what kind of start taking you up to kind of getting noticed by Dre to take you from Oak Cliff to L.A.? And
Yeah, that came through a good dude named Dr. Rock, who was a DJ on a radio station, K104 down here in Dallas. He had just come from California in 84 and got him a job at the radio station. Mm-hmm. He's playing his mix shows on the weekend. Hip-hop is just beginning. They only play hip-hop on the radio on his show on Saturday nights. Mm-hmm. And so that 10 to 2 or something like that, those 4 hours became the mecca for young adults in this city. And he saw Curtis and I on a TV commercial, Channel 21, had seen us doing our thing and asked me if I thought I could write a rap about their evening lineup. And yeah, I could do it. Did the thing. Rock saw that commercial and was like, we should start a group. And he feel it was his deal, and I don't give a shit. You can call it whatever you want. And so he made the name. We did a song called I Hate to Go to Work in his garage. And there was a radio DJ here called Tom Joyner. He had the morning show, and he played that I Hate to Go to Work record every morning on his radio show. Every single morning he played that. And so I began to gain steam And Rock was breaking those LA guys' music down here in a time where they weren't national at that time. They were very local, but he was bringing all of that here. King T and World Live, Wrecking Crew's music and all of that, the Rudy Party and all of those guys. And so Easy's first fledgling stuff. And so they would all come to his program to push their music. And that's how Dre and I got in the same space.
Cool. So, man, so now we go, and this, would you say this is just me guessing, was it like 86, 87?
86,
Yeah,
87.
it's okay, it's a good historical guess. So now around 86, 87, you go, and this is me basing a lot from my knowledge, but also from your wonderful documentary. I'm kind of taking some of these things, man. So we'll get to that too. A lot of things we got to cover quickly, but you go from Oak Cliff, and were you D.O.C. at this point? And tell me how you got your name. When did you become D.O.C.? And then I guess we can begin talking about your beginning stages going from Dallas to L.A. So
yeah, I was Doc T then. I didn't turn into D.O.C. Into L.A.
Okay.
Dre heard me rapping. He was like, "Man, you the one. If you was in California, I guarantee you we'd be rich."
Yeah.
I told him no at first, because he wasn't talking about the whole group. He was only talking about me. Can't leave my guys, and I don't know nobody out there. I'm not doing that shit. But about 6 months later, my mother threatened me with the Army because I wasn't going to school and all this other shit. And so I called Dre back and was like, "Man, do that offer still stand?" He's like, "Hell yeah, come on out." So I went out. At first, Dre was going to be my DJ. That's why all the records are made like that. It was a Jazzy Jeff Fresh Prince kind of, Eric B. Rakim kind of relationship. But I went out there and made the Eazy-E record with him, and that shit took off. And their music, N.W.A.'s music, really took off. And so he's like, "Man, I can't be a DJ no more. That's fine." But during the making of all of their stuff, it felt like they was trying to make me not feel like part of it, kind of, you know. And so what I did was I put the little periods in my shit because they had periods in their shit. And so that would be my connection, the way that folks would, I know so I'm a great judge of what people are going to think, their reaction to things. I'm really good at that. And I knew that if they saw periods in my name, that they would automatically connect it to the N.W.A. as a part of the movement. So you guys can't arrest me from that. I'm going to forever connect myself to it by putting those periods in.
Man, that's crazy to say, because even as we talk about like Dallas and its influence, nobody will deny your influence in West Coast gangster rap and hip hop in general. Why did you feel early on you had to fight for your place in something that you were so valuable in?
I think it's just the nature of how them boys is out there, and we're in a pecking order they were trying to establish. Because I was better than everybody. You know, and I didn't mind telling the motherfuckers that every day.
Talk
You know,
shit. I love it.
I battled with Cube. But it was friendly. But when you a Texas boy, talking shit is different, you know. And I was talking big shit. So I think they was just trying to show me, you know, you ain't really, nigga, watch yourself, you know. But I didn't give a shit because I did my talking when the beat came on.
Yeah, ooh, okay. Bars right there.
You're going to have to stand up. If you can stand up to that, I'll shut up. Otherwise, you finna get this pain.
Already.
You know.
I'll talk your shit. I love it. That's a big part of the Rhodes Rules Podcast is Dallas as a whole talking their shit.
Yeah, God is opening the doors, man. It's going to get worse or better, depending on how you look at it.
Already.
because it's time. You know,
It's your
it's
turn.
my time. No, it's our turn, bro. It's our turn, and we humble because we know it's God doing it. It's not us, but God is allowing us to talk that talk,
Yeah.
and we gonna talk it.
So how did that first album feel for you?
I in 1989 when that record came out, the only concern I had was that I wanted it to be better than Walking with a Panther, because my only competition for singularity was Cool James. He was my nemesis, even though he really wasn't in the sense of battling, because I never got to that level. Just in my mind, I wanted my record to be better than his record. And so, in my mind, now you know I'm probably being a little biased, but I thought to myself, man, I'm tearing this nigga ass up. And so I'm the greatest, goddammit. I'm him, I made it. No one could do it better was so different for that time in that space, and from coming from that side of the world and coming from a southerner. I didn't sound like a southern rapper, didn't sound like a West Coast rapper other than the beats I was rapping to. I sounded more like an East Coast dude, but my thought process and the way my wordplay was totally different. Every song, like I was telling you earlier, every song had its own, the same way we building this new thing.
Yeah.
Every song had its own personality. There was some that was loud. There was some that was cool. It was some that was thought-provoking. There was some that was super fast. There was some that was super slow. Everything was different. And so, in my humble opinion, it showed everything that you need to say that no one could do it better.
Man, and it's cool, like, talking as a brother, but also as a fan. This is just an honor for me to have you here. Let me say that again. But, man, to go from that, like a project so symbolic, so great that even me in my single digits, like I remember being a young kid loving, you know what I'm saying, loving the project and loving, you know what I'm saying, your sound, even at that point, because I had older siblings. Go from that high, that feeling of having it all, and then kind of losing it. What place were you at that point, if you would, like, you know, kind of relive that for us?
Yeah, there's really no words for that. You just lost, you know. You would do anything short of selling your soul to get it back. But there was nothing I could do to get it back. It was gone. I couldn't fix my mind to believe that. Hell, I still think it's gonna come back today. You know, I've always lived in that space that one day, you know, I'm gonna be able to get it back and do what I did. I lived in that space because I couldn't live otherwise. And the drugs and the alcohol through the depression, you know, it was really a tough period of time. But I lived through the music. I lived through being able to provide this skill set for those other guys to be able to continue to make records and put my name in the records, so I could stay alive, you know. And that's how I did it.
And so, yeah, going with that, as we go, it's like a timeline in my mind. So we go from that, but then let's talk about, and I've heard you talk about it on, you know, on several mediums, but let's reiterate, like, your strong influence in Snoop's career. That is a powerful thing in itself, to even when you lost your voice, to give someone else theirs.
Yeah, that song in particular was done at my house in Agoura Hills, just on the other side of Calabasas, where we all lived, Dre and me and Easy, after they records blew up. And we had began to build Death Row, and Snoop came over and we was writing. And I was explaining to him the process, that songs are like great books. They have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end that capture people. You only get about 15 seconds to grab somebody's attention, and to hold it, it's got to be meat all the way through it. But it has to mean something. I went through the whole spiel to him, and I equated it to my album and how I captured people. The first single was Funky Enough because you got to grab their attention. And the first bars was 1, 2, 3, 4 because people will automatically know what's gonna come next. So even after you've heard it one time, that second time you're ready to say it because you know what, that kind of. And when he went upstairs and wrote to that G thing beat, he came back with this long ass rap, but the rap started out with that 1, 2, 3, 4. So he showed me that he was paying attention. Snoop was a great student, man, and a great human being, and he allowed me to give to him in ways that some motherfuckers don't have that ability to do. That's as talented as he is, that have as much gifts as he does and charisma. They like, motherfucker, I got this, and blah, blah, blah. But he was really open, and he allowed me to live through him. So when he was the shit, it felt like I was the shit. Yeah. And that did a lot for me.
Like, going from the top to kind of losing that, along the way, can you speak to the journey that God took you on to be the man you are today?
Man, if you take a bird's eye view and look at it, it's all right there. It's not too many dudes can do this. It's really the story of Job, You get everything and you lose everything. Where's your heart gonna be? I never lost faith in the Creator. I always walked the path as a good man. Even when I couldn't do for myself, I was doing my best to do for others. Even when I felt at my worst, I was still trying to give my best. And even when the guys that are around me weren't righteous or doing the righteous thing, it never made me not be righteous. All the death row guys, they love to talk and argue about who did what. And I was listening to Suge on some podcast today talking about how he did and what he did and blah, 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 and what this guy did. But the truth of the matter is I built that whole shit, brick by brick, person by person. The same way I told you what was going to happen when we went to Dre's house. I knew what was going to happen when I put this person with this person, what it was going to take to do this thing, to make this work. And sometimes I allowed them to take my money and take a back seat because I wanted the machine to work, thinking the whole time when the machine works, we're all going to win. But that's not how it worked out, because those guys, I think at the end of the day, thought it was them. They didn't know I was driving from the back seat, But everybody played their role perfectly. And it couldn't have worked without everybody doing what they did. That's why I don't blame any of those guys for my position. I know it was God doing it all, And so I did my part, and it allows me to be where I'm at today. I'm a much better man than I was then. I'm a much more powerful human being than I was then. You couldn't do to me today what they did to me back then. I wouldn't give a fuck who you was, how big you was, or how many motherfuckers you had with you. You just couldn't do it. Because what I understand now that I didn't understand then is, nigga, I'm chosen. I'm protected.
Amen.
Ain't shit you can do to me. You know what I mean? But it was purposeful. I did what I had to do. They did what they had to do. Death Row was a great experience and a great time. The records I made in the years to come with Dre when he moved to Aftermath was a great experience and a great time. That in-between period when I got a chance to, when Erica and I had a chance to reunite, and we built on each other, and she gave me that beautiful child and cleaned me up and made me see myself in a different light. All of that was purposeful and needed. Even though I left that and went back out there and fell back into the same hole, that time with Erica allowed me to crawl back home faster, and more purposeful. And so now, after 35 years, I'm in what's called a reversion year. All of the publishing for all the records that we've been talking about start coming back this year. Yeah, so it literally is my time to get this money.
Doc is amazing, man. It was one session I made a beat for him because he was like, man, I think you can make, this beat and do these kind of things, and I think Dre gonna like it. I followed the specifications. He was like, hey, Dre rocks with it. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, hey, I'm gonna be out in LA. I just so happened to I was gonna be out of LA in the same time, and he invited me to the studio. He was like, hey, we're gonna go to Dre house, we're gonna do this, etc. At that point in my career, it had been very fruitful. I got plaques, won awards. It was cool, but still, for every producer, the trip to Dre studio was kind of like Willy walking the chocolate factory. So, you know what I'm saying? You gave me that golden ticket, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And it was during COVID, so I came down there, and I was like, man, I'm gonna make sure I'm down there with Doc down there. So, man, he told me the night before, he promised me, he was like, hey, bring your beats, and we're gonna go through them. And at that point in my career, you play beats, and typically, like, man, I'm talking about like 99 out of 100 times people hearing them like, that's it, that's amazing. You just get used because you put a certain energy into your production, people rock with it. And so you had a specific things that you were looking for, and I played these beats, but it's not that you wasn't rocking with it. It was your ear was specifically trained to that Dre frequency. So I'm playing beats, he's like, I'm talking about 50, he said, that ain't it. I'm like, damn. I'm like, that. I'm like, yo, I'm talking about it was boot camp. I was like, man, what the hell? But I was cool. I was like, all right. Well, let's level up then. Let's level up. So I'm talking about after like 60, 70 beats, you know what I mean? It was 5. It was 5 to go, you know what I'm saying, see the wizard with. He was like, we're going to play this one first because he's going to really rock with that one. Then you got these. And so he set it up. So we got to the gate. They said, Doc and J. Rose here to see you. We go to the top. We see the house. You hear a familiar voice that you've heard. And he's like, what up, D.O.C? So you go in there, chop it up with him. We go to the studio. And, of course, I'm running through it. But I will just say that exactly how you said it was going to play out, it played out. And you was real. You was like, hey, it can go a lot of different ways. But I think the way you set it up, when I met Dre, you allowed it to be a real great experience because he rocked with the beat, just like you said. He was gracious. And from that beat, it actually was the beat that turned into Exhibit History. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was a track that initially Dre and somebody else was on. So even just from that meeting and just that vibe, and then we went to Snoop's studio, and then the next day I met Too Short. It was an amazing LA journey. But I just want to say thank you, you know what I'm saying, for like involving me in that. And not only, but your expertise. It was cool to have that energy and feel those vibes, but your expertise beforehand really made it like a 10 out of 10 experience. So that just shows like your ear and your thought process, and it raised me up as a music producer, man. So I just want to say thank you for that.
It's all love, J. Rose. Everything is purposeful, bro. It was a hell of a night, and I got all that on film,
On the red camera,
that's
on the
right.
top, yeah, you showed
That's
do
right.
for you. All of that is on film,
so
man.
It didn't all show up in the film, but I got it all.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was so many different stories. I think people really need to see that, man. And yeah, and I want to tell you this too. We was at I think it was Warren G's birthday party.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of people around there, of course, all the West Coast legends, man. Dre even came out the house. They say Dre only come out the house for you pretty much. But Dre even came. It was just cool. Matt Barnes, just everybody there. Finishing up a drink, we had to dip. So I was drinking, and I was just like, let me walk out to the car. I wasn't even tripping. And then so just thinking about it, I remember we driving, and then you stop. He was like, hey, what you got in the cup? I was like, man, just a little whatever. He was like, hey, J. Rose, you'll never want to ride dirty. Okay, but then I thought about it, and it's just like, think about like all the stuff that you went through in LA like that. I think it was just a cool moment to be like, hey, whenever you're refining your life, whatever you're doing, there's always another level that you can take it just to be even more sharp. Make sure you stay on point, make sure you stay on focus, because God has a lot more places for you to go. So that was just a little subtle moment that meant a lot to me too, man.
Absolutely, bro. Like, I always be aware because the enemy, they call him, is always there to play in your pathway, and those boys out in L.A. are different from boys down there. They raised different. And I tell folks all the time, them young men out there is raised for war. These boys down there are beginning to become that. But in the generation that we were raised in, bro, we was raised to love each other. We might want to whoop a nigga ass, and that happens all the time. But you don't want to kill the motherfucker. That's final. Ain't no coming back from that for him or you. And in these days, these kids are so far removed from the reality that life and death is the finality in that. That not only is that no more for that person, but even for you, there's no more. Like you've taken something from yourself you'll never get back. And that might be being locked up in a penitentiary for, the majority of however long you get to be on this planet. But it takes something from your soul that you'll never, ever get back. And you think this shit is cool. You think it's a video game because you done played Grand Theft so many goddamn times and listened to D.O.C's funking up on it. But that ain't what this is, man. And this new project, all these new things that's going on, the school, our city, the World Cup is showing up next year. Like Dallas is going through a real transition, and it's our time to take advantage of that in every single way that we possibly can on a united front. So we can all win. Amen. Scottie Pippen got 6, just like Mike. You know what I mean? We need more Scottie Pippens around here.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
And less Mikes. We need the young boys in the street to understand Senator Royce West and you are brothers. There's no difference between you. God has chosen for you 2 separate paths to take, but those paths can lead to the same place.
Amen.
All you have to do is be open to it. This ain't television, goddammit. This is some real life shit we live in. So let's focus in on this money, because I know you want the money. You want to be seen, you want to be heard. I want to help you in that endeavor in any way that I can, using my plugs, using my knowledge, using my history, using my future. You can have it all. Let's get this money. Let's reintegrate. Let's remember, if you will, and get it right, because it's our time. I want to leave y'all with this. One of the things that's about to come up very quickly is a limited edition copy of No One Could Do It Better, the first album, using my film poster as the album cover, and a couple more pictures on the back. I'm going to England next week to start pressing these things up. I'm going to use those as a fundraising tool for my school. So this limited edition album, I'm only going to make 100,000 of them. Limited edition copy of this album. If you want one, www.doccares.org, DOCCARES.org. Check in, sign in, $50 donation to my school. I'm going to sign this limited edition copy, send it to you, and also send you a link. It's only 100,000 of them. Send you a link that before this film hits the screen I'm going to send you a link so you can watch my documentary at home.
Man, so you heard it here. You can support a great film that I saw at the Tribeca Film Festival, and you can support. Man, briefly, can you like tell the people something? You say your school. I just want them to know at least some groundwork in what you're building and doing in education.
Yeah, so it is an educational platform built in the early stages on 4 verticals: gaming, music, the creator economy, and software development.
Wow.
Those are the jobs of tomorrow. Those are also the areas that people that come from where I come from, with the exception of music, those areas don't get a lot of justice, you know what I mean? And so I'm training our future meaning the young kids in the underserved areas, training them for what's coming tomorrow. Like being afraid of AI. I don't want to get too in deep into that because that's in the conversation we got. But you can't be afraid of AI. It's the future. You need to embrace it and get into it because the next zillionaires are in that group. And so I'm not going to let our kids get left out of that. There are kids making millions of dollars on Twitch playing games. They're not our kids because they don't know anything about it. So we need to change that dynamic and start making these things something that our kids are not only aware of, but expected to be involved in, because the same audiences that are drawn from those data points, that's where all that money is coming from. You kids are the essence of those data points. You're the audience they're looking for. You know what I mean? But the money is being made off your attention, but you don't know it. And so we're going to fix all of that. And we're going to bring that home. And we're going to do it in Dallas because Dallas is the mecca of all of that new technology. We are ground zero. And so we finna get it all in from the north, south, east, and west side of Dallas. In every hood, we finna make it all good.
Already. As an official wrap up, just to bring it all full circle, because we'll expound on these topics more. But as we speak about AI, briefly, because I know it's deeper, but like in essence, losing your voice. And now with these new creative tools and the album that we'll discuss soon, how do you feel about like it all coming full circle and this technology coming out to where you can, even though you gain many different voices, now you can get your voice back? And what is your feelings on the ethical use of AI? Because when you go through the comments, people feeling one way or the other. Every comment you see, if anybody needs to be using AI, D.O.C. need to be using AI.
Come on, man.
So that's what they've been saying. So it's exciting. What are your feelings on this resurgence and being able to get your voice back in this manner?
I'm a unicorn in this space, bro. Like the only one that exists is me.
Amen.
It just don't, the story, the connection, the need, the use case, the ethics, the interest, the beauty, it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. It's like I was made for this moment. And really I was, God gave it to his strongest soldiers and I carried it. And so he gave it back to me and gave it back to me to give to them. And so that's what I'm doing with the Dreams Experience Academy. I'm give the DEA for short. That's where we make the good dope. It's important to me that we explore the ethical uses in AI so that folks can get rid of this scary big bad wolf sort of attitude towards it, because in some way they right, because the machine is going to try to use it for its purpose, but God don't give you nothing that don't have God in it.
Amen.
You know what I mean? So there's another level to this shit that you can turn this thing around and make it great. And I think that I'm the guy that's been sent to let that be known.
And so do I. And so stay tuned for that. I am Jay Rhodes. This is my big homie D.O.C. And these are the Rhodes Rules.
Yes, sir.
I want the Rhodes Boys chick and Beyonce bought $28 million for the fuck of it. I want a Basquiat in my living room just to tell her how not to touch the shit. I work hard, so I want sports of victory and every single thing that comes with it. Cause I'ma write it down and I'ma put it on and I'ma cross it all off my bucket list.